Yes, I've got a little bit more back because I'm not just a pretty face on here. So I've got a bit of background on the Smirnoff Ice and Tropical Reef lines.
Of course.
So back in the mid 1990s, there was a massive moral panic about
Yeah.
Alcopops, as they're called, and bit of background on them. Wine coolers gained popularity in the US market in the 1980s when Bartles and James began advertising their brand of wine coolers, which were followed by other brands, including when Bacardi introduced the Breezer. A growth in popularity occurred around 1993 with Two Dogs, DNA Alcoholic Spring Water, Hooper's Hooch, and Zima,
Oh, yeah, that rings a
which is
bell.
referenced in an episode of Friends where they're planning
Ah,
Ross's bachelor party, and he says, "Oh, just the
yeah.
dinosaur dudes," and Joey says, "Well, we're going to need a 6 pack of
Back
Zima."
a Zima,
I always
and that's
thought it was, I thought it was non-alcoholic lager, but no, it's an Alcopop. Yeah, um,
so even in America, people think that like pussies drink Alcopops.
yeah. Wine coolers. I always associated wine coolers with soccer moms. So I'm sure our American listeners can praise us on that. Wine coolers are on the decline due to the increase in the US federal wine tax, and using a malt beverage base became the new industry standard. Hence, these being marketed under the title of malternative beverage. I like what he did there.
Alternative.
Later, Mike's Hard Lemonade, lovely stuff, was released in the United States with humorous commercials depicting what they called violence against lemons. Smirnoff also came out with another citrus flavored malt beverage in the United States in the late 90s called Smirnoff Ice, as we've heard,
Hmm.
which promoted itself with flashy commercials, usually involving trendy young people dancing in unlikely situations and places. Through its Alcopop Free Zone campaign, Alcohol Justice has sought to ban Alcopop sales entirely, since the sweet and brightly covered alcoholic drinks may appeal to children. Many cooler advertising campaigns have been criticised as trying to make Alcopops appeal to young drinkers. In the United Kingdom, a media outcry during the mid 1990s arose as a tabloid press, oh, it's always a tabloid press in it, associated Alcopops with underage drinking, which damaged sales and led to British liquor stores withdrawing them from their shelves, only temporarily. Brands of coolers are numerous and their alcoholic base varies greatly. Some notable brands include, and this is going to be a blast from the past, mate, VK Vodka Kick,
Oh,
Smirnoff Ice, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Bacardi Breezer, Palm Bay, Sky Blue, Jack Daniel's Hard Cola, and in the UK, are you ready
Jack
for
Daniels.
this?
Go on.
WKD Original Vodka.
Wow.
Oh, and
JD
Tropical
Hard
Reef,
Cola as well. Wow.
the JD Hard
Yeah.
Cola, yeah, which you can kind of get now. You get
The
the
little
cans
cans
of
that are
JD
just
and
just
Coke.
like
Yeah,
one
yeah,
glass of JD and Coke in it, but even
very
less
good for a train
alcohol in it.
journey, I find.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very good for shotgunning outside a gig. But yes, Tropic Reef was another was another brand of those. But the nightclubs we used to frequent, us two, you'd get
Mm.
there at 10 o'clock, and it'd be 80 pence for a bottle of one of these. Warm, it wouldn't be cold. But
Yeah.
it'd be 80 pence for a tropical reef back in the good old days.
Had miniature whiskey and we shared a coke. See, the beautiful the fact that you're gonna have to play the lyric alarm for a song that you don't like.
No, because that wasn't organic. I'm not playing. Oh, I'm doing it.
What do you mean it wasn't organic? It was organic. You mentioned JD. It was perfect. It was probably more organic than any other one we've done. Yes, yes. I do. I mean, I recall all of them in a horrific manner. I remember I used to get if I'd had too much to drink and it were getting like to like 1 in the morning, I still had to get through like 2 hours. I had to get myself back up. I'd get a Smirnoff Ice. I'd switch to the Smirnoff Ices or some or a Blue Wicked. Do you remember as well? There used to be a drink in the Stockport SU called the Hulk, which was pouring a Blue Wicked into a lager.
Yes. Oh, they were the days, and it go bright green, hence the
Magic,
name the
magic.
Hulk. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I might have one of them. I
why
think
don't
we'll might have one of them next week.
why don't they let us in the stuff student union? Why don't they let us in there anymore?
Because it's inappropriate, Dom. They don't let me anywhere with students. Look at me. I'm anywhere near them.
But yeah, I think you were about to also do us with the other reference, which was the tropical reef.
Yes. So yeah, that was another type
Don't
of.
think I ever had one. I can't remember having one. Maybe I did and I forgot. I don't think I ever.
It was
properly.
essentially just the same thing as VK or VS or
But I
Wicked.
think
It was all.
I think it was more juice. I think I read when I did have a little look at some stuff, and I think I read it was 42% juice, so it was more juice than any of the others. So it's probably like barely alcoholic, really, in terms of what was
Yeah,
in it. But yeah,
good preparation for the hangover, that, isn't it? Gonna get ahead of the hangover with that.
as much as I don't think it was a hysteria moment or it needed to be really flagged, but they clearly were targeting kids because it was like juice, so he doesn't taste like alcohol. And hey, maybe the shopkeeper will let you buy it because he don't give a fuck. He just wants to make money and he's depressed, and he thinks,
I
well, it's
always
just an
remember.
Alcopop. I mean, it's called an
I always remember
Alcopop. What a name!
yeah, what do you expect from it?
Sounds like a
I
kid's
remember
sweet.
around this time, the time of this song and this album. I remember seeing adverts on TV where it was like hip young teenagers, like top shop princesses, if you will, and princes. That's that sort of demographic,
Mm,
and they'd be drinking
yeah,
responsibly, having a nice game of pool. It should really be a girl in a nightclub toilet, like being sick in a handbag and doing a pregnancy test, because that was the kind of lifestyle that it was associated with, rather
yeah.
than the
It was.
drinking in moderation being all cool.
It wasn't a big thing in the clubs that we frequented, was it? That was more your vodka Red Bulls and stuff like that, and a beer, like a bottle of Beck's. Like you could get a bucket of Beck's or a bucket of Buds for a tenner or something like that, and you'd all put in and share it, or a fiver probably back then. But
Yeah.
it was, it was more with the clubs that I call like the Deansgate Lock clubs, your Pop Worlds, and all that kind of places where you would find that kind of thing, wasn't it? Yeah.